Welcome back. It's Philip Bickle at Legal Tyranny. It's July 13th, 2021. What we're looking at today is a reply brief that I filed to the answering brief of the state when they responded. Their answering brief was a response to my opening brief for the traffic infraction side of my appeal. Again, this should have been consolidated with my other case, which ended in 381, and that was a traffic criminal. But they, I guess decided to put me through the ringer, make me do more work than what was required. So we're going to go through this brief, and this one's a short one, but you're going to like it. I very carefully set up my cross-examination questions to get certain facts on the record, and those facts included that the Officer Davies had knowingly completed the notice of infraction with false information, and I got him to admit to it under oath. Now, he also filled out the traffic arrest citation. It's got a different title on it, but he filled that out with the same false information, primarily that I was the registered owner, and that's actually a required element for at least two of the infractions that he alleged I committed, which included not having registration on me. How are you going to have registration on you if you're not registered, right? Okay, so we'll just start rolling through this. We've got our table of contents. Pause this now if you need to read all of these. I'll just run through them real quick. Argument A. If it is true that an enforcement officer is allowed to initiate prosecution of non-criminal infractions, violation offenses, and it was alleged that I owed over $20, then I was not given a chance before a trial by jury, as is guaranteed in the United States Constitution under these circumstances. I forget which amendment that is. We'll get to it in the argument. However, the money that they allege I owed, or currency, I should say, is that I owed them as a result of fines. So that's up for debate. They don't get to take money from me without putting me before a jury, especially if it's over $20. That's guaranteed in the Constitution. Then we've got argument B. The appellee admits that the enforcement officer made an arrest over alleged observed non-criminal actions on my part. The issue of false arrest was first raised in the written answer submitted by me on December 5th, 2016. And C, we already went over. He did not fill out the citation that he gave me also with identical information. He edited the thing afterwards. He, I believe, had a blank box where, there was a written statement or something along those lines, and he filled it in after the fact without giving me the same information. And he was supposed to give me the original. The statute requires they give you the original, and a copy is supposed to go to the court. Okay, so table of authorities. This is pretty brief. State v. Gem. This is, the crux of what we're dealing with. Could I be accused of committing a violation when the Hawaii Supreme Court ruled in these circumstances that I could use not being registered as a defense? Okay, then we'll go over the statutes explicitly. And let's go ahead and get started. Statement of the facts. Additional necessary facts for consideration of each issue appear in a reply addressing each issue. The record on appeal will be cited where appropriate. The transcripts of the proceedings for this traffic infraction case noted hereafter as TR and by date. Okay, so pause it and reread it if you need to. I already read that to you. Okay, if it is true that the state legislature has given a class of government agents who are not licensed to practice law the authority to initiate prosecution in the name of the state of Hawaii, then I was deprived of the right to a trial by jury when I was never given the option to have a trial by jury. The citation which was issued to me, see Exhibit F, indicates the following alleged fees owed. And this is their bread and butter, stealing from people and misapplication of statutes. Okay, so the United States Constitution Amendment 7 states, in suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Okay, so here's what they're alleging I owe. That's clearly over $20. Now, for those of you that have been studying longer, you should know that dollar is actually supposed to be a unit, and this stuff is all laid out. There's people that have put together really good quotes and citations and case law on monetary issues, money being gold and silver only, and it's actually declared in United States code, and in some states they've done that in our Constitution. Currency is different from money. That's a separate issue. If you guys are interested in that, start looking into look up gold and silver and fiat currency issues. Just Google it. It's actually critical to a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. We've got bankers controlling everything, and it's like, you don't have to be religious or into the Bible to see that the same class of people, the banking class, is at the top of all of this. Everything else trickles down. All the government formations, the agencies form around that. Like sorry for this quick aside, but the Federal Reserve was formed in 1913, the same year that the Anti-Defamation League was formed by the Jews of B'nai B'rith, which is a Jewish-only Masonic lodge. And these same people were all tied in with also creating the FBI in that same year, and the IRS in that same year. So the IRS makes sure that the Fed and the other bankers are getting their money, and the FBI, same thing. And the people that went into the FBI that constituted it at its foundation, many of them are Pinkertons. Look them up. Tell me if you trust them. Alright, back on target. Any single one of the alleged fees would invoke the protection of this amendment. See, every single one of them over $20. At no point in time was I informed of the right to a jury over these allegations. The transcripts included in the record on appeal do not have any evidence that I was informed of the right to a trial by jury. I would have requested a trial by jury if I was provided the option, and the record reflects that I provided proof of bias against me by both Judges Udovic and Freitas. I filed motions for recusal against both judges with my reasons included. Okay, here's both copies of the motions to recuse. The bench trial was held before Judge Freitas, whom I showed engaged in blatant bias against me as described in a related case. See this other video series on the traffic criminal side, if you haven't seen it yet. In a reply brief filed on December 11, 2019, pages 10 through 12. So if you just started tuning into this channel, you want to be consistent and precise when you're citing citations to make life easy on these people if they're actually reading your arguments. If they're actually reading them, this is going to go over well. The fact that you're citing evidence and the fact that they'll be able to find it and locate it and, assess that for themselves. If you don't cite any evidence, then you're creating more work for them, and who knows, they, even if they were giving you an honest evaluation, they might not be able to find, where the evidence is that supports your argument. So cite it accurately. This judge openly ignored me when I twice raised the issue of the prosecutors failing to state a claim within the statute of limitations. The aforementioned pages in a related case, wherein the allegations stem from the same event, cites the sections of the relevant transcript where it can be seen that twice I raised the objection that the prosecution was barred by the statute of limitations, and twice Judge Freitas openly ignored me, failed to rule on this issue or even comment on it. Clearly, I would have never allowed a bench trial to occur in this case being appealed if I had been afforded the right to a trial by jury, as the United States Constitution, Amendment 7, states is my right. Okay, so I don't know that this is a sort of approach that they've been hit with very frequently, but here it is. There's no reason why this argument shouldn't work. Okay, the U.S. Constitution indicates we've got a right to a trial by jury when that value exceeds $20. So they never give you any access to a trial by jury if it's violations, infractions, and petty misdemeanors. And petty misdemeanors at one point were included in other criminal offenses, like higher offenses, where you would get a jury trial, but they're not making money. They're not, handling cases fast enough. So just, quote-unquote, justice at the expense of our rights. Okay, moving on. And you can read this again on your own. In Appellee's answering brief, the following is stated on page 3. On November 11, 2016, in the Puna District of Hawaii County, Officer Davies, while stopped behind a white Ford pickup truck at a light on Highway 11 and Highway 139, observed the vehicle did not have a license plate and no safety check or registration or weight tax sticker on the back of the bumper. When the light turned green, Davies observed the truck make a left turn onto Highway 11. He initiated a traffic stop, approached the driver, later identified as Philip Bickle, informed Bickle of the reason for the stop, and requested a driver's license and registration and insurance for the vehicle. As the appellee points out on page 4 of the answering brief, I first attacked this action as unlawful on December 5th, 2016. I still hold that this was an unlawful arrest and that all of the evidence, including the citation issued against me, should have been thrown out by the district court as fruit of the forbidden tree, and I ask this court to review this matter. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here. If you found the information informative and useful, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you are subscribed, please hit the notification bell so you know when I have a new video posted. And as always, if you can copy and paste videos that specifically would help certain people, that helps me out because this information isn't going to get out any other way. Thanks. Till next time.